Welcome to the fourth episode of the GODSU live chaplaincy lecture. For the next 3 weeks, our founder and chancellor of GODSU, the Right Honorable Her Excellency Reverend Dr. Diane Moore-Eubanks, JD Chaplain, will be lecturing on the Christian chaplaincy program to GODSU chaplains like yourself. If you have any questions for the Chancellor, please text her at 754-260-5157. I repeat, 754-260-5157. This is yours truly, MC and Engineer, His Excellency Dakar, Director of GODSU Chaplaincy Program, and CEO of Dakar Marketing Tools, an international graphic and printing company providing you with all your marketing needs to help you and your company grow. Our popular products are GODSU African American Bibles, magazines, banners, flyers, branded golf shirts, and jackets. Our world-renowned services include marketing, consulting, coaching, keynote promoting, public relations, and conference planning. Without any further ado, our founder and chancellor of GODSU, the Right Honorable Her Excellency Reverend Dr. Diane Moore-Eubanks, JD Chaplain. Please take us away.
All right. Welcome. Hello, everybody. This is exciting. This is wonderful. So what we're doing here is we're doing a recap of the various chapters. You're still expected to read through and to study and to do all the questions. What we're doing is just summarizing and giving you a taste of the wonderful chaplaincy program we have here. So we're going to talk about Section 3 today, Community Chaplain Services. And if you note in your packet that was emailed to you, for those of you who've completed registration, you'll see a picture of myself and several young women that I did chaplaincy services for in Kingston, Jamaica. And it says, GODSU chaplains motivate high school students to stay in school and further their education. So that's an example of community chaplaincy services. And there are many other types that we do here at GODSU. On that particular, I believe this was in 2018, that picture in your package is showing. There are several people who traveled with me. His Excellency Dr. Moore-Eubanks was also a chaplain there, as well as we had others who traveled with us. We've had chaplains to travel with us from the U.S., from Guyana, etc., to Jamaica, as well as the U.S., as I said, to assist. And that does include chaplains who are Jewish chaplains. And we also have that program as well for those people who are doing the interfaith program. But today, I'm focusing on the Christian chaplaincy program. Note that when we finish this particular program in 3 weeks, we immediately start on the love and spiritual chaplaincy. And that particular program, we're going to go ahead, and myself and Her Excellency Cairo will be doing that program much. All right. So community chaplain services are designed to offer assistance to those who are in need. Okay. Serving the spiritual, emotional, physical, and social needs of individuals, families, businesses, corporations, schools, and groups in the community. Some of the services that are included and provided would be, for example, in the area of counseling, where there's pastoral counseling, premarital counseling, postmarital, crisis, grief, career, spiritual, individual, as well as family counseling. And I've been able to through the GODSU chaplaincy program, been able to do all of those. Can you imagine all of those? The grief counseling, where we've had folks who've had deaths in their families, career. I did one up till today. In fact, I was speaking to a wonderful young man that's finishing our program, and we talked about ways to expand his business. People don't realize that when you give consultation under the auspices of the Holy Spirit, that you are indeed doing chaplaincy, because you're indeed imparting knowledge, you're indeed using the skill sets and training as a chaplain to reach out to that individual to take them to the next level. And of course, every morning, Monday through Friday, here at GODSU, we do our spiritual community chaplaincy services when we do our God Success Teach and Pray. And for those of you who are new, we do that particular service Monday through Fridays, 7:40 until 8:05. So with that said, we're going to move on and explain further some of the other community chaplaincies that we do have. The family pastoral services includes whether you're able to do funerals, weddings, or you keep Bible studies. Now, let me make a note here. In certain cities, states, or even countries, they may ask for an additional level of licensing outside of simply being a chaplain. So, for example, in Florida, you're able to go into the prisons, you're able to go into the hospitals by simply being a chaplain of any denomination, from any organization. There's certain, however, in Georgia, there are certain institutions like the prisons who actually make money from doing they may actually make money from doing their chaplaincies. So they actually sell chaplaincy programs in certain, I know, Cobb County and Gwinnett County and some of the counties in Georgia. They actually monetize their chaplaincy program, and as such, they don't allow anybody in their prisons unless you basically pay for that program. So you have there's some states or some districts that are like that, but most districts are not like that. They are actually grateful. They are actually welcoming, and they love the fact that you're coming in as a chaplain to help them. I remember a couple years ago, Excellency Dakar, where you did some chaplaincy in the high school that you attended, and there was a student there that was homeless. You remember that? Yes, and we actually traveled together to the homeless shelter that she was staying at, and while we were there, they were so amazed that we were helping this individual that they asked me, would you all come back and be a chaplain for us? They actually asked. It so happened that that particular place was very far. It was like an hour away in Fort Lauderdale, and it was not something that we could commit to on a regular basis. But we did tell them that we would take this particular individual, and we were able to bring her through GODSU and give her a place to stay for about 6 weeks until she graduated. So even as a chaplain, you're able to do those types of things. Wonderful. There are 15 lessons that they don't teach you in many other schools that we teach here at GODSU. All right. So there is a type of education that you get in other schools, and then there are life lessons that you learn along the way. Often called, I guess they call them the School of Hard Knocks, but here at GODSU, we're going to call it part of our chaplaincy program, because sometimes when people talk about the School of Hard Knocks, they're talking about hustling and other things. We're not talking about that here. All right. So learning through experience is important. Sitting in front of the classroom is important. Both are important. The problem is that life moves us far along before we can actually figure out what's going on. So through wisdom, what we're going to do is just put in front of you some of these life lessons. As they would say, number one, don't sweat the small stuff. That means that in the grand scheme of things, some things don't matter. So like today, I was so excited, guys. You don't understand. This is my first time in 3 weeks being in front of the camera, because remember I had the flu.
Oh, yeah.
And so I was just gung-ho, skipping along and just excited to get on. And Dr. Willis said to me, Chancellor, calm down. This is don't sweat the small stuffs. So that's what it means. It means, you know what? Take things in perspective. Take a chill pill. Everything will be okay. All right? Number 2, life can be unpredictable and throw you some curves. Be prepared as you possibly can. Let's take, for example, what's going on now with the fact that a lot of us are in restricted situations due to the COVID virus. Let me tell you something. This is going to be a wonderful time to bond with your family, because you are all in the same space. Daddy can't go and play golf. Mom can't go and get her hair done. Kids can't go to the movies. You all are together. Use this as a great family time. Okay? Life can be unpredictable. Make the best of it. We also have coming up for you, I believe it's April 6th, the first Monday for GODSU. And many of you on here are new to GODSU. So I'm letting you know, every Monday, first Monday, we do a special treat where we give back by helping you with your career, helping you with your family, helping you with your business. And we're going to talk about at that time how not to quarantine your business during this time. That's a form of chaplaincy. That's a form of giving back, because we're not charging to give you that information. And that's what a chaplain does, is a chaplain gives back. So many people may give back by going to the hospital. I particularly give back through coaching, mentoring, and consulting with you all at least one Monday a month. So make sure you don't miss that. The most repeated, number 3, the most repeated language, the most repeated word in any language is I. And you've seen some people on TV. Everything is me, I. Okay? It's not about us. It's not about we. As chaplains, you really want to bring it back to we. You really want to move away from being self-centered, and realize that being arrogant or egotistical is not the same thing as self-confidence. So as chaplains, as we go about doing our chaplain work, we want to make sure that we exude self-confidence. We exude that we know what we're doing, but we're not putting people down. We're not talking down to them. And because of most of us here at GODSU who are going through the chaplaincy program are going through some other programs with us with the Earn Their Honor, you are an icon. You may be a subject matter expert at what you do. You still don't want to put people down. You still have to be gentle as you teach people. And that's something that's difficult for folks who have a lot of blessings and a lot of gifts. But remember, those are gifts. And it's a gift that you need to keep giving. So you are there to help the person that you're giving the chaplaincy services to build up their confidence. Not to let them feel that they're not as smart as you, even if they don't have the book knowledge you do. You don't want to give that off. You know what I mean? You don't want to be arrogant. All right. Number 4, people are more important than things. People are more important than just money. Yes, they are. Regardless of what you've seen in the movies, regardless of what you've seen on TV, people are more important. And that's what we do here at GODSU, is we touch lives. You are so important. Relationships are more important than any material things. So you want to make sure that as you go through your chaplaincy, that you explain to people that without the love and support of their friends and family, material goods are really of not much use. So you want to set your values on God, set your values on love, set your values on kindness, and most of all, set your values on forgiveness. His Excellency Dakar, remember today when you got on my nerves and I wasn't so happy? Guess what? I forgive you.
Oh, thank you for forgiving me.
See, that's what chaplains do, guys. And you have to understand this. And Dr. Willis said this today in one of our meetings, that the only Bible that some people will ever see or open is you and your life. So as chaplains, as you go about your life, you want to make sure, you want to make absolutely sure that you are personifying that chaplain spirit of giving back and of kindness and exemplifying what you see in the Bible as taught by the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Okay. Number 5, no one can make you happy. Have you ever seen someone who says, oh, I'm in love, I'm going to get married, he's going to make me happy? Tell that person that you're counseling, stop. The only person that can make you happy is God and you. That's it. God has ordained all these wonderful things for you, and he's given you the free will to accept those, implement them in your life, and go and execute them. So your happiness and state of mind starts with you and your relationship with God. And you have to be able to teach those people that you're offering chaplaincy services to, because so many people right now, they're getting depressed, aren't they? Sex Dakar? They are still so much on social media. Everything is negative. They're just on TV watching horror movies, and they just, get carried away with that. Am I right? They really need to understand that you make the choice to feel happy or grateful. I never forget Dr. Morris Red and Erickson Z. Cairo went to a gratitude training class, and it's changed their entire life. In fact, you can't even make them mad anymore, because they understand that that happiness comes from within. So we need to make sure that our chaplaincy people that we're servicing understand that they can look to God and what God has given them inside themselves to be happy. The simple fact that they woke up this morning, the simple fact that you woke up this morning, that's enough to make you happy, because you are deciding, you are making that decision that I am going to be happy. Number 6, character and integrity counts. It's important to be a person of honor. If you give your word, that's it. We've had a couple people, not a lot, but a couple people who their word is not even worth the trash in the garbage can. They give you their word, or they give you a check. Believe me, it's no good. To the point that here at GODSU, we've had to make a no check policy, because some folks just have no integrity at all. And so we need to, as chaplains, have that character, have that integrity, know that it counts, know that our word is bond, and be kind to people and let them know that if your yes is your yes, your no is your no. You don't even need to swear. You know what I mean? You just, like with yourself, I've told you, Sex in Dakar, I need to be able to do this today. Could you set this up? And I could have closed my eyes and fall back. It was there. That's what we need to do as chaplains. That's what we need to teach as chaplains. Number 7, forgive yourself, your friends, and your enemies. I've had enemies that I had to forgive. And you know what's so funny? It came right back around that they needed something from me. And because I'd forgiven them, they were able to come and ask me and not sit there and be hurt. Because a lot of times when people have done you things, they're sorry about it, but their ego and their pride, they won't come and tell you. Well, what if you make the first step and you just call them? Hi, Susie, how are you? And they're like, They know what they did. I said, how are you doing? And they said, well, and then they will start to even say, you know what happened the other day, I really didn't understand, and it's somebody else's fault, but da 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 da. And you said, you know what, it's okay. 2 weeks later, Susie calls. By the way, I know you work at such and such, and I know that you have this connection, and my child really needs to get into that school. They're being bullied at their school. Is there any way that you can assist? And let me tell you something. They needed that same day you called them, but they were too ashamed to say it. Forgive them. Forgive them. Now, if you know in your heart that they are unchanged and that they are still holding a grudge or they mean you badly, I would say forgive them, but do it from the other side of the street. You don't want to be in harm's way with someone that you know has hurt you and does not mean you any good. So you have to make sure that you use that strong discerning spirit that God has given you to make sure that you also don't put yourself in harm's way. Does that make sense? Because a lot of times, people say, well, it doesn't say that in the Bible. Well, you know what? I tell those people, God has given you good sense, and you know good and well that that person doesn't mean you any good, and you know that person's walking towards you, and that person means you harm. Step out of the way. You can pray for them from your car, okay? All right. That leads me to number 8. A good joke can sometimes be the prescription you need. Like the little one I just gave about, going into your car and praying for them and not being in a situation. So when you see a program, there are 15 actual steps there that you can read. Next, we're going to go to the next step, which is ways to happiness. And what we do is we talk about the different ways of happiness. We list the 3 key routes to happiness, and then we go to specific techniques to make you happy. And there are quite a number of those if you turn to page 86, for those of you who are following along in your books. Okay, there are many of them. Some of them are mentioned for the key routes to happiness includes pleasure through direct experience, happiness from hard work, happiness by helping people. That's 2 of my favorite. Happiness from hard work. Guys, I can't even sleep at night because I don't want to miss anything. I want to keep working. And then when I wake up in the morning, I can't wait to get up so I can get back to it because I love what I do. And happiness by helping others. Our hard work here at GODSU is, in fact, helping others. So I get a 2 for it, 2 for 1. I get to help others while I work hard. Love it. Specific techniques to make you happy. I'm just going to run through some of them. Authoritative pattern matching, achieving expertise. And that's something that, in fact, I spoke to a wonderful gentleman today who has a home care business, Dr. Okugo. He's on the line. And he is an expert at what he does and just a wonderful person to be around. And actually speaking to him made me happy. So you have people like that. And that is why many times when I speak to people, I don't even look at their bios because I don't want to get bogged down with the facts. But when you speak to them, you can actually feel a wall with some people, or you can just feel a bridge to them. When I spoke to him today, I felt a bridge to him. So little thing here. Anybody who is in South Carolina or needs someone with home care in South Carolina, contact Dr. Okuku. He's just fabulous. Makes me happy, and I'm sure he'll make whoever you send happy as well. All right. Aligned integrity. Be you, but be an honest you. Believe your vision, because if you can see it, if you can believe it, you can achieve it. So you want to teach that to people. You definitely want to teach that to people. Teach people to contemplate life. Don't be depressed. Live quietly. Think introspectively, but live actively. Take creative action. Express gratitude. Like right now, His Excellency Dakar, you did a fantastic job making the lighting make me look younger than what I am. I like to look young. So thank you very much. 57 is creeping up on me. So thank you, sir. Thank you for setting things up. Thank you for doing this beautiful chaplaincy flyer I see here. Thank you. I have a bunch of things I'm thankful for. Thank you for doing my business card that you did. That is beautiful. Thank you for making me a cover girl on this beautiful magazine. I didn't even check. Oh my good, my jacket.
Oh,
my jacket.
I did mine too.
Absolutely. So you can just start going down the road of just being grateful, and you cannot say thank you and how grateful you are without smiling. I can't even stop smiling. You know what I mean? So that's what we want to teach people, is that positivity. Absolutely positivity. I can't believe I've been on here 27 minutes. You must be kidding me. Really? 25? I can't believe it. Oh my goodness. Guess what? I'm going to go a whole hour today then, because I have a whole lot to share with them. All right. So those are some of the special specific techniques that you can use to make you happy. Want to let you know, at the end of this chapter, we have a journal entry, and it says things like, what was your greatest takeaway from this chapter? How can you apply the knowledge to your day-to-day life? Do you have any additional notes? Now, I want to make a note. A 24-year-old young woman put this beautiful, wonderful chaplaincy program, organized it, and then her name is Her Excellency Moore-Eubanks, and she has a business called Cairo Writes, Cairo Speaks. If you need anyone to help you with taking care of your speaking engagements, making sure you sound right, look right, that's the lady. Or even to write your speeches for you, as well as any of your written materials, your books, workbooks like this, she's the person. And the young man beside me from Dakar Marketing Tools did all the graphics that you see here. Just amazing. These young people, I tell you, they are amazing. All right, so now we're on to chapter 8, everyone. And you'll see another picture, this time of a young junior ambassador, Princess Sudan Eubanks at 10 years old at Holy Childhood with the headmistress, and we had about 400 girls that day that we spoke to. And it says GODSU Chaplaincy Program presents supplies. We want to correct that to supplies to high school students, as well as teach awareness on how to prevent harassment and bullying. And you'll see it there, and you'll see that we partnered on this particular project with our GODSU United Nations NGO, New Future Foundation Incorporated Jamaica chapter. And we have a lab program that we established where we give computer products as well as math calculators to that school through the Dr. Charles A. Moore OD STEM and Computer Lab program. And that program is not only in Jamaica. We did chaplaincy through that program doing STEM in Jamaica. But guess what? We are doing it here in the U.S. Come this summer. We were supposed to do it in June, but because of the all the big gatherings having to be moved, I believe they're going to allow us to move it to August and do it right alongside before our graduation. So we are very pleased about that, so that we will be able to do chaplaincy for young people through teaching them STEM, computers, and I also believe the space program as well. We have a couple of astronauts, right? Is that into Dakar? In the Junior Ambassador program, they're bringing a couple astronauts as well, through Dr. Sabrania Holmes, Dr. Barbara Mitchell, and Her Excellency Moore-Eubanks. So we have a lot of things going on, and that's also a form of chaplaincy. People don't understand, as long as you're giving back, making a community impact, touching people spiritually and socially, that is what a chaplain does. All right, so the first chapter talks about using humor as a part of communicating in chaplaincy, because it reduces hostility, it deflects criticism, it relieves tension, it improves morale, and it helps communicate difficult messages. And it goes to talk about that. It talks about the way that we maintain certain traits from childhood into adulthood. And growing up, it doesn't mean that you can't have humor. I mean, I get tickled pink, not tickled pink, but tickled purple, whatever, from time to time. Absolutely. How do you get through an entire day without having fun, laughing, just making the best of things? It makes life easier, okay? We don't want to forget how to laugh. Absolutely. We need to keep it playful, and, we need to have fun. And that's something that children have, and that's something that keeps you young. Because I've had people to meet me and they said, I can't believe you're going to be 57. You just look, it's not your look, it's your spirit. If you have a happy spirit, if you're easy to laugh, if you're easy to make light of things, I'm telling you, you stay young, believe me. All right, so laughter is very, very important. All right, besides humor, another thing that we teach as chaplains is communication and listening. We have to learn to listen. The words we speak are very powerful, and even as we're speaking, we have to listen to even ourselves. And before we speak, we have to hear it in our heads, because we don't want our tongues to move before our minds, because as you know, the mouth is dangerous. That the mouth, I'm telling you, somebody can say 2 words and it's the wrong thing. I heard that there was someone who misunderstood a speech and went and took a chemical, and now they're dead. You got to listen carefully. Listen very carefully. So you have to learn to listen. You have to be open and honest. Be tactful, considerate, and courteous. Be clear and specific. Be realistic and reasonable. Teach. Do not preach to the person or lecture to the person or talk down to the person. Do not make excuses. Don't take excuses. I love that. Remember you taught that today, that people learn from you based on what you do.
Yes.
Not what you say. Believe me.
They see.
What they see.
They see.
What they see. Absolutely. All right. So recognize that each event is seen from different people's points of view, and also people learn from different point of views. And just so you do know, guys, we are taping this. We're videoing this. So we're going to put the video to the words, and we're going to put it on our website. You will actually get a password. Is that how you have the website set up? Where they get a password and they can go and look. They can sign in.
On GODSU.org, they create an account.
Wait, tell them how we're going to do this again.
Yes. So on GODSU.org, you go on and you create an account, and when you are registered as a student, you'll have full access to this on the GODSU website.
That's amazing. And Her Excellency Kyra and yourself have put that whole website together. One of our assistant deans, I believe his name is Dr. Holman.
Yes.
Is that right? His company actually built GODSU a $1 million website as part of his giving back to the school. And this same website is what's used by University of Michigan and other places is that. So this is fantastic. All right. So there are levels of listening from basic to advanced levels of listening. Wow. Level 1 is listening in spurts. That's tuning in and tuning out. People laugh because I work 16-hour days, and they're like, how can you work a 16-hour day? That's because many times during that day, I'll have some music or I'll have something silly going on, and I'll hear it in and out, but it will take me sometimes 3 days to watch one show because I'm not focused on it. That's level 1, because most of it is not really, and I'm learning anything, so it's just to make the time go by. So before I look at it, I've been working 16 hours. I didn't even realize it because I'm focused on the work, not the background noise, but it helps time to pass. That's one level of listening, okay? Level 2 of listening is quiet, passive listening. That means that it's like when you're watching a movie and you're focused on that movie, not like me where you're working and doing other things, but you're focused. That's quiet, passive listening. If you say something, the people in the movie are not going to hear, so it's passive. You can't do anything about it. Then level 3 is active listening. At this level of listening, you're observing body language, you're evaluating, you're actively responding. So right now, you guys are actively listening because I'm getting questions. One person said, well, I didn't get a package. They didn't realize that when we emailed them the program, that's your package.
Yes.
You're like, well, I didn't do this program. Yes, you did, because you've done that.
I also want to add that if you received your Chaplaincy program, it's going to automatically update. So if you go on your email and click the link, or if you're on the website, you'll have the latest version.
Yes, because some people I'm noticing on here, they did the program before, so they're probably like, that's not what is in the one I printed out. So sorry, we upgraded, we 2.0. As the kids would say, what the kids say? We turned it up?
Yeah,
is that what y'all said? Okay, so we turned it up, and according to that, you would actually need to go back to the link, press on the link so you can see the latest, but your printed one is going to be a little different. So with active listening, you are participating. People are sending questions. That's part of it. All right. Impairments to listening. Some people have impairments to listening that are due to physical or health situations. Know what your limitations are. Like for myself, I have to drink a lot of water or I get dehydrated. When I get dehydrated, I blink a lot. Like I'm blinking now because I need to have some water. Where's my water? Here it is. Here it is. While you're learning, you have to have your tools around you. Thank you very much, His Excellency Dakar, for having that there for me to have ready. All right. So some of you students, when you're teaching them, they may have, some of you, when you go to the prisons or to the hospitals, etc., they may have some limitations that you need to be aware of. And even within yourself, do you know that the first person that you need to be a chaplain to is yourself? Absolutely. You have to take care of yourself first and foremost. Physician, heal thyself. Before you tell somebody to do something, make sure that you're doing it as well. So you're taking care to make sure you're not too tired, that you're not too hungry, you're not too dehydrated, you're not too ill. So when you go, you're able to give your best. Because let me tell you something. When you're doing chaplaincy, it is draining because you are spiritually giving to that person. You know, you are pouring out. You are emptying your resources, your time, your energy, you just everything about yourself to that person. So afterwards, you're then going to need to retreat, and you're going to need to fill up and take care of yourself before you go back again. You've seen many times, you even have pastors who, you know, they don't take care of their own mental, spiritual, and health needs, and you see where they get ill as well. So we constantly have to build back our systems, you know, take care of ourselves. All right. So when you're communicating in traumatic situations, that's the next topic. You want to make sure that when you're communicating, that you give the person full face, you listen, you get them to a quiet place, that you do a one-on-one, you speak to them privately. If you are lecturing, if you are not lecturing, if you are counseling someone as a chaplain about something in their lives, you take them aside. You speak in an inside voice. You know, on top of your voice saying, well, now that you're bankrupt, now that your marriage is over, and talking loud and embarrassing them even further. So you want to make sure that you get that private one-on-one. Get on the same level as that person. Making sure that there's no obstacle between them, making sure you pick up on their body language more easily, look them square in the face, ensure that they're okay, that they're safe. You may have to take them to a different space. If you're in a hospital and they have someone else that they're sharing a room in the hospital, you may have to take them ask the nurse to take them in a wheelchair and take them somewhere else to make sure. The other thing, though, is that you want to make sure that you're not putting yourself in a liability situation. So if you're in a hospital, if you're in a prison, if you're in a situation, don't leave yourself open wherein you can be liable. Especially if it's mixed genders. If you're male with a female, or if you're female with a male, ensure that there's a third person in the room. It is so important. You don't want that to get back on you. You don't want to be helping someone, and because someone is going through mental things, they can actually make up a story about you and you get in trouble. So you want to make sure that there's a third person. Another thing that you want to make sure of and careful of is if you're in a hospital, that you don't touch or move someone and in some way endanger them. Someone is hooked up to an IV, you move them, the IV jumps out, you go and you do something, you move them in a wheelchair, and that's not the way to do it. You can hurt them, you can be liable. So call on the professionals. If you're in a prison, call on the prison guard. If you're in a hospital, call on the nurse. If you're in a school situation, call on the teacher or whoever is going to help you. Just make sure that you protect yourself. As I said, take care of yourself first, and then you can take care of the other person. There are a couple other things on that page that you make sure that you take care of. All right. The next page, 96, talks about roadblocks to communication. You want to read that. Make sure that you cover that. And the next page, 97, we talk about things to say, things not to say. Do not say, I know how you're feeling. So you're talking to a prisoner, right? This person is in prison for, manslaughter. They accidentally use their car, kill somebody, and they're never manslaughter. How do you know how they feel? If you say, I know how you feel, they can turn around to you and say, so Chaplain, you kill somebody too? It's not true. No. What you can say is that this has got to be painful. I can't imagine your pain. Tell me, how are you feeling? Now, I know how you feel. No, because the person's looking at you and going, you have no idea how I feel. Or another thing not to say is, it could have been worse. They could say, oh, there's something worse than killing somebody? Well, what you going to say to that? You can say, is it all right if I help you with what you're going through? Would you like to speak about it? I'm not in your shoe, but whatever I can do to make this any easier, please let me know. Those are the kind of things. So if you read through that part of the chapter, it will explain to you how to do that. Okay, so expected emotional reactions. We talk about that people will go through: disbelief, flashbacks, sadness, survivor guilt, especially if they were in an accident or they were in a fire and they came out of it, but the other person did not. That is devastating. Even people who have lost their family members through death, they could be old. When my father passed last year, he was like 85. It didn't matter. He could have been 15. It just knocked me off my socks completely. I felt like, why am I here and he's not here? So people go through survivor guilt even if someone dies through natural causes. It doesn't even have to be something horrific. So, be very cognizant, of that. Mm-hmm. Self-help techniques. Don't push thoughts and memories of the event away. Teach people not to do that. It's critical to talk about them. It's critical to even cry. I remember March 23rd, which was Monday, was the anniversary that my dad passed. And do you know, it was last night that one of our children came to me just crying, just tears pouring down. Like, what happened? Oh, Grandpa died. This was from last year. And this is the first real time that particular person cried. So I had to take off my mommy hat, put on my chaplaincy hat, and go through these techniques to help that young person. So, keep those things in mind. Okay. All right. So we are talking about now on page 99, where we talk about how to talk to people, how to be aware of numbing pain, and it goes all the way through that. And chapter 8 ends with, what was your greatest takeaway from this chapter? How can you apply the knowledge of this chapter to your day-to-day life, and your additional notes. So, what time are we at now? We're 44 minutes in. His Excellency Dakar, can you check and see if you have any questions?
Yes, let me check.
Any questions? Oh, I can't wait for next week to get chapter 9. It's a beautiful picture of chaplains of GODSU with the police officers of Miramar, Florida, actually doing chaplaincy work and helping law enforcement. How wonderful this is. And they're there with food. They're there bringing food to the police officers. They have our beautiful GODSU Empower You magazine done by Dakar Marketing Tools. I see His Excellency Dakar there. I see Chaplain, Her Excellency Kyra, and of course, Dr. Willis there as well. So let's see. Are there any questions at all? I think there were 2 questions and I answered them, but I don't know if there are any additional ones.
And the phone number to text is 754-260-5157.
All right. So I haven't seen any questions. So just for those people who this is your first time being with us, because you just had somebody just signed up today, let me just say a little bit about GODSU for you. And Global Over Day Seminary and University, GODSU, is a 501c3 interfaith e-learning global institution with corporate offices in Miramar, Florida, and a physical campus. Actually, we are getting rid of the physical campus in North Carolina. We have a wonderful space that we are going into here in Miramar, Pembroke Pines, guys. Get ready for that. GODSU is a Florida Department of Education Commission of Independent Studies approved degree issuing religious institution of higher learning under Florida Statute 1005.06(1)(f). Our curricula include earned and honorary degree programs or earned programs. We have at least 40 earned programs. For example, our theology diploma, bachelor's, master's, and PhD programs are designed for students called to the ministries of teaching and preaching. Our program enrollees include pastors, evangelists, missionaries, and laypersons. We have many additional courses: entrepreneurial studies, premier self-development courses on wealth building. We also offer a mini course for youth, our June Ambassador Public Speaking Program. We have a 10-week program for young people. We have a 10-week program for adults. We have several chaplaincy programs, and these are all to gain professional, spiritual, and personal skill sets. So with that said, it's been a pleasure and an honor being with you all today, teaching you the Christian Chaplaincy Program. So pleased to have everyone on the line. I am Her Excellency, the Reverend Dr. Diane Moore-Eubanks. I am a professor here at Global Over Day Seminary and University. I'm also the provost for our Global Bible Institute, our seminary. And we also have a United Nations NGO, New Future Foundation, Inc., the Jamaica chapter. I'm the national president for our Jamaica chapter. And I am so pleased to be here with you all doing the Christian Chaplaincy. And I will see you all next Thursday, 5 o'clock. Thank you. Bye-bye.